Hello everyone, welcome back to Clues by Sam. I apologize for my tardiness. Today I had a hell of a day, so right now is when I'm stopping to do a quickie because today is a medium one, so I'm sure this is not gonna take long at all. If you don't know what Clues by Sam is, it is a daily logic puzzle game where there are 20 people and each of them has to be either a criminal or an innocent, and we gotta find out what they are using the clues that they give us, so there's no guessing involved. And if you want to play along, I bet you already have, but if you've never played before and you want to start with this one, the link is in the description. And I'm gonna start mine and explain my logic as I go so we can figure it out together. Let's start with Laura telling us that two cooks have an instant directly to the left of them. So there's two cooks here, and the third one who is Uma, and Uma doesn't have anybody to her left, so that makes Stella and Zoe both have to have innocence to their lefts, and now we don't need Laura's clue anymore, so we click it to dismiss it. Kita now says there are exactly 4 instances in column C, so we need a fourth one, because all of the instances we have so far are in column C, so we need a fourth one and last one. And there's only 2 people left. Only one of those is an innocent. Now, Xavier says that Amy is one of 2 criminals to the left of Donald. So we're talking about Amy being a criminal. And there has to be a second one to the left of Donald. And there's Barb and Carol to the left of Donald. So only one of them is going to be the second and last criminal. And the other one is going to be an innocent. So they are opposites as well. Now, Amy says there's an odd number of criminals to the right of herself. So Amy has 1 criminal to her right, who's either Barb or Carol. We just said that. And to have an odd number, she couldn't have any more because there's only 1 more person left. So Donald couldn't be a criminal. Almost thought about evens there. Donald says now that only one of the 3 criminals neighboring Gary is Frank's neighbor. So Gary and Frank share 1 criminal here who's either Barb or Carol. And okay, so Gary and Frank share only 1 criminal. And that is either Barb or Carol. So we know that Kevin is not a criminal. And we also know that Frank has 3 criminals neighboring him. Is it? Nope. On quite the opposite. Gary has 3 criminals neighboring him. So that makes sense. We gotta keep that in mind. Kevin says now that Hank has exactly 3 innocent neighbors. So where's Hank? Hank has 2 innocent neighbors so far, Donald and Laura. And Hank's gonna have a third one who's either Carol or Gary. You can't forget that they are opposites because we've tagged them. So Hank's third innocent neighbor is already here in column C, which makes Noah a criminal. Now Noah says there are more criminals in row 1 than row 3, and we know there's 2 criminals in row 1, so row 3 couldn't have any more because it already has 1, who is Noah. So that makes Jason an innocent. And now Jason says that Barb and Frank have 2 innocent neighbors in common. So Barb and Frank now have 4 neighbors common total. And we already know about one of the instances. It's either Carol or Gary in column C. So we need a second one who could only be Ethan. Ethan now says that Frank has exactly 6 innocent neighbors. So now we know the total for Frank. And Frank so far has 4 innocent neighbors. So he needs 2 more. And the only way for him to have 2 more is for Carol to be a criminal, because she being a criminal makes both Barb and Gary innocents, since we tagged them as so. Now, Carol says that only one of the 4 criminals neighboring Kita is Zoe's neighbor. So Kita and Zoe have 2 neighbors in common. One of them is Xavier, who is not a criminal, clearly, so that makes the other one a criminal. And we also know that Kita has 4 criminals neighboring her, so 2 so far. She needs 2 more. Gary says there are more criminals in row 4 than row 5. So that's interesting, because if Penny were to be a criminal, that will make it so that Kita could only have 1 more criminal neighboring her because she has 4 neighbors total. So Wanda and Zoe will be opposites, and that will put 1 criminal in row 5. If there has to be more criminals in row 4 than row 5. That will make Uma an innocent. Or Aussie could be a criminal, right? And Uma a criminal as well, because that will make more in row 4 anyway. So can we rule out that Wanda and Zoe are not criminals? Yeah, that works, because if both of them are criminals, then Kita has her 4 criminal neighbors, and that makes Penny an innocent, which would then in turn not allow row 4 to have more criminals than row 5, since there's not enough people left in row 4 for that. So we know that Penny is a criminal then, and that Wanda and Zoe are opposites. So that's good. Now, Penny says there's an equal number of instances in rows 2 and 5. So we know that there's 2 instances so far in row 2. And 2 instances so far in row 5. So that makes... we have to think about Gary again, because Gary has 3 criminals neighboring him, so he needs a third one, which makes Frank and Hank opposites. And I completely forgot about that. But now we know. We know that row 2 has 3 instances total. So we know that row 5 needs 3, and so far it has 2, Xavi and somebody else who's either Wanda or Zoe. So the third one has to be Uma. And now Uma says there are 9 instances on the edges. So how many instances do we have on the edges so far? We have Barb, Donald, 2. Ethan, Jason, that's 4. Uma and Xavi, that's 6. We're gonna have a 7th who's either Wanda or Zoe. And we need 2 more to make 9. And there's only 2 other people on the edges, Hank and Aussie. So both of them have to be innocent. And Hank being an innocent makes Frank a criminal. And he gives us a new clue. There are exactly 2 instances in column D. And we already know who they are, Donald and Hank. So that makes Zoe a criminal and Wanda an innocent. Good? Ouch. My shoulder. Okay. So that was good. Only a third of the people got it perfect. I'm always shocked by these results, because it's a medium one, so I wouldn't think it's as low in perfects. I think there's many people who don't want to spend a lot of time doing the puzzle, so they end up getting just trying stuff out instead of spending the time, which is fair game style. Each one has their own. But I do encourage trying to work through the logic and getting it perfect. It's so satisfying. But I'll leave this video here for today. I'll see you tomorrow for more Clues by Sam, or today if you're watching this the next day, which is probable. Bye bye.